This is the substance out of which anything is made. What is this stuff? Well, it's obviously energy, but what is energy? What we teach is that energy is consciousness, and consciousness is energy. Consciousness is a substance. It is a substance that takes on the form of waveforms. They can be standing waves or moving waves, but the templates upon which density or matter manifestation occurs are standing waveforms. A standing wave is called a scalar standing wave. It holds a fixed point in a grid with many others, and there are very specific mathematical relationships and geometrical relationships between the positioning of these standing columns of waveforms. Now, standing waves oscillate and vibrate. The way we describe that in these teachings is oscillation is when they actually flash on, and you would see them, and vibrate is when they flash off. So you have, imagine a sphere covered with light bulbs. They're not moving, but they flash on and off at different rhythms. When they flash on and off at different rhythms, it can appear that they are moving. If you watch lights around a marquee, you can see how they can make it look like the lights are actually running around, but they're not. The lights are just flashing off and on. The templates upon which matter is built are very much like this, but they're not light bulbs. They're literally consciousness in the form of energy that interacts in very specific ways and at very specific angles with other units of like kind and some of opposite kind. There is a whole structure to the way reality is built. It is not haphazard. It is not just a big bang happened and all of a sudden things started to organize themselves. There are big bangs, and the big bangs are a result of certain mechanics that have to do with the template beneath them. There is an order and an intelligence to the way the universe is structured. That order has, for ages, been referred to as the Christ. Not Christ, C-H-R-I-S-T, but Christ, K-R-I-S-T. Because there are two main mathematical programs, template programs, core programs, that everything began, creation, objectified manifestation began upon. They're called the Christ and the Christalla, and they go together, and between the two of them, they represent 24 points of vibration and oscillation. Now, upon this, which we will get to later when we talk about Cathara grids, upon this structure, standing scalar waves form, and they form intimate, interwoven patterns that create literally the structure of dimensional fiber of electromagnetic energy by which things can come into manifestation as individuated forms of consciousness. One of the interesting things about what we teach is that, again, energy is consciousness, which means the energy that makes up the standing scalar waves that make up the templates upon which matter manifests and matter within which consciousness can embody. When you go back to the templates themselves and the standing scalar waves themselves, they are conscious. That means they're beings, not just things. That means they have an awareness. It's an awareness different than what we would possess in a human form here. It would have a different relationship to things like what we call thought or emotion. It would be much more in the category of direct cognition and infinite knowing at all times. The standing scalar wave consciousness that the universe is made out of, that includes your body, that includes your consciousness. You are a part of this consciousness. This is what we mean by we are all units of the consciousness of God. You can't be separate from God's source. God's source was and is and always will be the original consciousness within which everything manifests, because God's source desired to manifest it. God's source set in motion a structure of perpetual motion. The first creation continually occurs. It never ends. It was set in motion upon the Christ and Christalla grids, which allow for, literally, perpetual motion, continually regenerating, the cycling of consciousness into and out of manifestation in perfect balance and perfect synchronization, which allows creation to have beginnings and endings within cycles. But actually, it all occurs at once within the body of the consciousness of God's source.